Hello, this is part 6 of the MEANJS tutorial. So in our last video we just finished creating several methods in our controller that allow us to create, retrieve, and delete posts. And here we've attached those methods to our routes. And basically what's going on here is whenever someone performs an HTTP request to this URL, if they do an HTTP get, then we call the post.list method, and if they do a post, then we call the post.create method for them. And here, if they give a specific post ID, then if it's a delete call, then we will try to delete that post. And here, remember, we created a special middleware function, post by ID, to automatically convert the post ID parameter here into the correct post for us. So now let's go ahead and run our tests. And we want all three of those tests we created before to pass. Let's see. It looks like our third test to delete a post did not pass, and that's actually a problem with our test writing. So if we check out our test again, you'll see here in our assertion statement that we tried to compare the post delete result, which is returned as a JSON object. So this is actually a string. We're trying to compare it to this MongoDB object. So we need to convert that to a string to be able to be compared. Now let's try to run our test again. So we have to be very careful when writing our tests, because we can have errors in our tests that aren't actually errors in the code. So if you see here, we have all three tests passing, and now we're going to go ahead and go back to our front end. So here we have our front end that we worked on a while back. We have a couple of posts that we just hard-coded in, and now what we're going to do is create a new view so that we can have a form to create new posts. We're going to name this forum create. We will just be using the forum controller for all of our views. And let's add a route. And we can't get to that view yet, so we have to go ahead and change our config file. Remember, this is the forum client config file that we created earlier. What we're going to do first is convert this into a drop-down type menu, and we're going to add sub menu item to this forum menu. This menu item will just be list all posts. The state will just be from list, and one more for our create view. Now if we go back, this should change into a drop-down menu, and we also have to configure our routes too. So first what we're going to do here is make an abstract route to sort of group all of our forum routes together. So first we'll set abstract to true, and our URL will be UR view like this, and let's set the roles so users and admins can access all of the routes of this path. And now we can change this to just create, and this to just empty string. And we have to change this to list. Let's see, it should match. So if we go back here, this gets our list post, and this is our new view. So now we can go ahead and start editing our view. So let's go ahead and bring that up. So first let's just make a header. Create post, and we're going to make a form. So we'll just name this post form. We need an ng submit, but we'll leave it blank for now. And we'll set the validate flag to turn off the HTML5 default validation, since Angular can handle that for us. And we'll create some form root divs for our input fields. So first is going to be title, text, the title, just engine model, also title, and form control, set that to required. We can also set a placeholder of post title. our text field, make this a text area. And this one's not required. And last, we need our submit button. Last will just be standard button. And just have it say create. Let's check out how that looks. And we might want to just add a placeholder here. Alright, and that looks pretty good. And of course you can style it however you like in your free time. So next we're going to work on our tests for the controller. But first we're going to need to quickly create a Angular service that we're going to use to grab our data from the server. I'm just going to name this the post service, and let's open that up and I'll show you how to fill it in. And so now what we're going to do is import the Angular resource service, and we're just going to extend its functionality to help us get what we want. So if we just return resource and we give it the URL to our routes, then this will automatically handle all the HTTP calls to this route for us. And we've given it a parameter, and we just have to define what this parameter should translate to in our object, in our response object. And it's just going to be the ID field with the underscore in front. That's how Mongo objects are returned. And this resource service already has most of the functions for creating, deleting, getting all built in, but we need to implement the update ourselves, or we just have to define it. So when we call update, we're going to want to have it perform an HTTP put for us. And that's it. And even though we haven't implemented the update in our server side, we just want to have it here for future use. Then with that, let's go ahead and open up our controller test that we created earlier. So you can see there's a lot of stuff that was already generated for us. We're going to just add a couple more global variables here. One is our post service. Another is just a fake post variable to have us mock some data. Here it creates a toEqualData function for us that helps us compare objects. And here's where we're going to get our post service. So it just says the underscores are ignored so that we can actually use the same name for our variable as the service itself, like so. Yes, you can see that the same before each and it syntax is used, but this is a different testing framework than what we used on the server side, so there are some differences, and we'll go more into that in the next video.